Hi, welcome back. Today's lesson is going to be a writing lesson about video game reviews. Okay, I'll try to make it a little bit more fun since we're doing remote learning. Sometimes it's hard to do some of those bigger sort of writing tasks. So we're going to try to stick to something a little bit more fun in video game reviews. Now, the purpose of a video game review is to inform people about the game and to give your opinion. So you want to tell them about the game, about what the things has in the game, but you're also giving your opinion as well, which is a strange thing because it makes it both a persuasive topic for persuasive writing and also informative, because you're informing people about the game, but you're also trying to persuade them, not even trying to persuade them, sometimes it's accidental. By giving your opinion, you are persuading people. If you had someone you really trusted as a YouTuber and they came out and they said something about a game that you didn't like, you would take that on board and it would affect your opinion. So even if you're trying not to be persuasive, you kind of are being persuasive when you're writing a video game review. So what does it need? I've decided to come up with a few different things that I think that would be necessary in any video game review. The first thing, obviously, you need the name of the game. It'd be really good to have the publisher in it. So if someone did like that game, they could go, oh, I know that publishing house. A publishing company, they do good work. I trust them. Genres, so that's action, adventure, I don't know, some of the other puzzle games that they have. Age rating, that's a really good thing to have in reviews because you need to tell people if you're going to play this is who it's aimed for. If you're like an adult and you see a game it's aimed for 3 to 5, it's probably, okay, I mean, maybe not me, but for most people that would be a little bit too easy for them. What platform is it on? Is it on PS4, PS5, Xbox, PC, iPhone, Android, whatever platforms it's on? The release date, that's a really good thing as well, because if you saw a review but it was from 2 years ago, you might say, oh, well, that's going to be out of date now. I don't really necessarily want to play that game, or the release date could be coming. So I better get my pre-orders in for that game. The aim, we need to have the aim of what your game is. What are you trying to achieve in this game? The pros, so what are the really good things about this game that you really enjoyed about the game? The cons, which is what are the bad sides, what are the downsides of the game that you think could have been improved? And then at the end you give an overall summary which is a summary of the game, but also your opinion. Would you recommend it to someone else? Why would you recommend it to somebody else? Why wouldn't you think it would be a useful game? And then usually we finish off with the stars, usually out of 5 stars or out of 10. I don't really care about that part, but that's just a structure for how we're going to try and do video game reviews. So we're going to now try and I'm going to try to write one and see how I go. The game that I'm going to choose is a game that I've got 2 kids. I don't have time for gaming, but my daughter downloaded Crash Bandicoot on her iPad the other day and I've been playing it, so I'm going to use that game. All right, let's move on to the part where we're going to write about it. Okay, so the game that I chose once again was Crash Bandicoot. Okay, so when I'm going to my game review, this is how I'm going to set it out, and my game would be Crash Bandicoot. Now, the publisher. If you're using a game, when the game loads up, it will usually have your publisher there. If not, in the App Store, when you click on the game, if you scroll down to the information, it will tell you who the publisher is. And so this one was Activision Publishing. Okay. The genre of mine is, I would say, action / adventure. I wouldn't straight out call it an action game. There's no violence in this game, but there's a little bit of like the action thing. When I looked at the age rating in the App Store, it actually came up as 9+. However, that game, there's no reason why a younger kid couldn't play it. That's just their recommendation for that one. The platforms, this game is only on iPad. Okay, iOS devices. Actually, let's just write that. iOS devices. I don't even know that's how you write OS, but let's keep going. And the release date, I don't have a month, but the release date was in 2020. Okay, so this is how I'd set up the first part of my game. So the first part of my review. And then under that is where I'd start writing it like the paragraphs. Okay, so after this part, after I've written down the names, of all of those things. Also, with the release date, you might find that if you can't Google it, when you actually see the publishing, when the game loads up, when you log in, when you turn it on, quite often it'll have the publishing date there. So let's start with the aim. Now, when we get to the aim, we're going to write in paragraphs. We're not going to write dot points. We're going to write proper paragraphs, explain to people clearly what the main aim of the game would be. Okay? So the aim of this game is, Okay, so I know you guys probably don't want to see me write for a couple of minutes, so I thought I'd take this opportunity while I'm talking about the aim of the game to show you some of the game and how it looks. Okay, so the aim that I've written down here is, in the game Crash Bandicoot, the aim is to make it to the end of each level. When playing the game, your character continuously runs and you are not able to stop. As you complete each stage, you receive money, potions, and crystals, which you can use to unlock levels and make upgrades. Now, I can see clearly here that I've not necessarily done a good job of explaining the aim of this game in terms of what you have to do. So, I'm going to write an arrow here, and down the bottom I'm going to write down here one more thing. Now, what that sentence is going to go in here is, as you run, you need to avoid boulders and objects whilst trying to collect fruit. Because after there, it just looks like I just run the whole time. There's no actually way of me getting caught. So it's quite okay if you make a mistake to add in extra information later. What's worse is if you just didn't add the information at all. So your aim doesn't necessarily always need to be that long, but we do need to make sure you explain not just like the aim of each level, but what you're trying to do. So the idea of adding in about receiving money and potions to get upgrades is a really important part of the aim of the game, what you actually do in the game. Let's move forward to the pros, the positives about the game. All right, let's write positive game features. Okay, so this is a short definition of some of the positive features of the game. The game itself is a very fun and engaging game. It is very challenging and also easy to play. That might not be necessarily like saying that makes sense, but it's challenging and it's hard, but also younger kids could play it quite easily. I really enjoyed the game more as it became more challenging. Okay, I could probably add a few more things in here, but I'm going to leave it for now, and we're going to go into the negative aspects of the game. All right, let's do negative game features. Okay, so let's read for you through the negative game features. Although the game was easy to play, the home screen was quite confusing and hard to navigate. I often had trouble even being able to start the next game. I should say next level. I also found that the game doesn't have much variety. It repeats the levels continuously, which means I didn't feel like the levels were that different from each other, which meant that it gets quite boring after a while. So they're my positive and my negative features, and now I'm just going to write an overall summary about the game itself, about weighing up the positives, the negatives, and all the game together. How would I recommend it to anybody else? All right, so let's move on to that stage. Okay, let's see if we can get this last part done, okay? Okay, so here is my overall summary of the game. What I want to try to do is try to give people a lasting impression of what were the good things about the game, but also overall I think that Crash Bandicoot is a really good game for an iPad. You can see here I've written for an iPad. Obviously if I was playing this game or paying good money for it on a PS5, I might think this game is worse than it is, but sometimes it's harder to judge those games through an iPad. And iPad games aren't usually they don't spend as much money, and this game was free. I probably should have written that as well. Actually, you know what, let's put that in the section at the top as well about the price as well. All right, it is a family-friendly game that can be enjoyed by people of all ages. It can be quite tense and have you on the edge of your seat. If the main screen was a little less cluttered and confusing, I would definitely give it a higher rating. Definitely give this game a try, 3.5 stars. Now I know I haven't done a great job of explaining some parts of this, but I hope that's enough for you to now go away, choose a game that you feel like you could do a really good job at, and then follow my video, write in each step, and see how you go with it, okay? Thanks for watching.